corporations moving into our area. So I see the dock workers as being essential to the future of the union movement. Because as was with, and you can see the impact that we have. We don't boast the numbers that SEIU or Teamsters boast with millions of workers. We may have as many as 40,000 workers from Maine to Texas. On the West Coast, it's less. But in 2002, when they had the lockout over there, those 10,000 dock workers cost this country billions of dollars over a 10-day period while they were locked out. Because 95% of the world goods move by ship. And that's where we come into play. And if we can use the strength that we have to weigh in on other struggles, then like Mrs. Saunders just said, we weighed in on the 1969 hospital workers strike. Because, you know, if it gets to the point that we say, you know, with the sanitation workers, in an expression of solidarity, you know, if they come down to the port, we're not going to cross the picket line, you may have a problem. Commerce don't move, there's a real problem. But certainly when we take action, there's going to be a response. There's going to be injunctions filed, there's going to be attacks by the government. But it's at that point that the rest of the movement should then encamp around the dock workers to make sure hands off the dock workers. And of course, we would link up with our brothers and sisters globally through these international dock workers organizations that we have to also support us in our struggle. But there can be no globalization without trade. If you don't trade without transportation, and that's where we come in. And we control, we play a vital role in the total logistic chain. And any hit, and that chain now is so sensitive that any disruption to that chain, it would cause real problem in manufacturing and jobs throughout the interior of the country. So I see that those of us who represent transportation ought to be at the center of the movement going forward in order to exercise whatever support we can for other struggles. And should we get in trouble, then the rest of the country should then be stepping up to the plate to make sure that we prevail like we did with the Charleston Fire. So with that, I'll stop and I'm sure we'll get into discussion.
I'm Cindy Mohammed from the College of William Saunders, Virginia, which probably should have the lowest unionization rate, but a lot of federal employees from DC happen to live in Virginia, which bumps our rate up. But anyway, I'm curious. Kerry said something that made me think. You were talking about in your introductory remarks that labor history is all here, and you said and use these 3 strikes as examples. But it made me think about how labor history is not just about strikes, right? It's about what goes on in between those big events. And I think the hardest thing about being in any organization, not just a union, but any organization, is trying to sustain it when there aren't those moments of conflict. So what happens to your union when you don't have 5 guys under house arrest? What happens in between moments? How did you sustain these organizations? That's my question.
Well, we're busy. We always are attacked in some form. There are always issues. You know, in 1998, we supported Governor Jim Hodges for governor, and we served on his transition team. And so when it was time, we said, well, okay, what can we do for the Longshoremen? And I said, well, there's only one position I would like to serve in on behalf of my members, which is on the board of the state post authority. That became front page news for 3 weeks. There was a grassroots alert by the Chambers of Commerce and the South Carolina Manufacturing Alliance that we cannot afford to allow a union person. You know, I thought I had faced discrimination being black, but nothing like that. And the only reason I don't serve on the board of the Ports Authority today is because I'm union. And it was a successful campaign. So there's a lot of things that happen constantly. Why I have colleagues up and down the coast, but my local has been under at least 3 FBI, Department of Labor investigations for over the last 12 years. None of my other colleagues face this. And so, one of my almost colleagues said, "Can you got one problem?" And I said, "What's that? Too black, too strong." And because it's a constant, it's a consistent attack. And we make no, we do not let people know who our friends are. We open our hall to our political friends. We invite those who are running for presidents and governors and so forth. And it just happened that most of them happen to be Democrats. And of course, that angers the Republican parties. And we're always being targeted. So there's some targets we have survived that we didn't have to contact our U.S. representatives to see if someone, be it management, be it government officials that are asking the agency to lean on our organization to try to break it, find something. But we are constantly, I believe that their theory is that if we stay on the defense, then we cannot be progressive and move on an agenda. But, so there's always something going on with the dock workers, and our membership pretty much on alert. Of course, we have a pretty busy port, and it's now rebounding from the recession. But they're always on alert. And the good thing about our union, it's not like other unions that where once you get a job, you leave home, you go to the job. And any day, all my members have to come to the hall every day to get their jobs. So at any point, I can go there, stop the hiring process, talk to them, let them know what's going on. And there's some that will try to, on the manager side, try to eliminate the hiring hall because that's where our strength is. I don't wait to see my members once a month at a union meeting if they decide to show up. They don't show up every day for their jobs. And I have an opportunity then to go and interact with them, to let them know exactly what's going on, and that's how we keep them engaged.
Kind of piggybacking on Cindy's question, I wanted to ask Mr. Saunders, if you could say a little bit about the work that led up to the strike, because I know that that there's a lot of attention. The way it's written or the way it's understood is the workers are fired and then everyone all hell breaks loose. But there was a lot of much kind of slower, intensive organizing that took place before that.
Yeah, it was a very slow process. We organized for over a year, a little over a year. I think in December of 1967 is when the first 5 people ran into some problems. It was, I think, 3 nurses and 2 nursing assistants reported to work during the Christmas holidays. The RN, because all of the nurses at that time who were in charge were RNs and they were white, probably didn't want to work during the Christmas holiday either, and decided that she didn't want to give a report on the conditions of the patient. Whenever you go to work, you got to get the condition of the patient in order to administer any kind of help. But she refused to give them a report, and they refused to go to work. So they were fired. And news got around about that, and that's when I told Mr. Saunders what was going on. We started a meeting. It was only like a few of us, maybe 5 or 6 people. When we did get, with Isaiah Bennett and went into the union hall, we started bringing somebody that you could trust to the meeting every week. And it started just growing, 12 people, 20 people, and then it got to the point that we had maybe about 400 people. But then during that time, we brought in motivational speakers. We sent letters to the hospital at one point, telling them that, we wanted to meet with them, and they refused. And at one point, they posted a cartoon telling the workers, that all union want is your money. They had this big union guy on the flyer, and all these women and champagne glasses and stuff with and stuff because we didn't have any money for the union to want $1.30 an hour. But it was a slow process, and it was about bringing, unionizing, organizing people by bringing them in at a slow, pace.
I just want to go back to something that Kenny said a little while ago about all of the investigations. I did an interview with some people about 8 years ago. They asked me what I thought was my biggest achievement. And I said that I am 67, 68 years old and have not been indicted by my government. My government investigates us at all times. And that's what he's saying. There's always how can we find something wrong? Because only the government can do it to us. Nobody else can. The IRS, FBI, those kind of things. And any one of us that are involved in the movement are always under investigation. And I think that we need to make sure that everybody understands. It's not a free situation. We did all of this thing with the hospital workers, started in '67, and everybody that was involved in that was under investigation at all times. And the governor would send people down and just to mess with them and intimidate people that were working. And it hasn't changed. I mean, that thing has been strengthened. It's gotten a lot worse because of the technology. Because we were able to, in the hospital sector, do some stuff that you can't do today. We knew that our phone was bugged, so we can give them information that we would not know. So they know each other, tell them, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and you're going to do that. So we could get stuff changed without, you can't do that today. Technology don't allow you to do that.
I just had a question, Kenny, about having a reform group within the union. Are you all in contact with, do you work with other such reform groups within unions to kind of talk amongst each other and get support, like through labor notes or through any of these other organizations?
Labor Notes, yeah, and we'll be attending their conference in April.
Good.
Teams to the Democratic Union, of course, and a lot of other progressive organizations. About a week ago, we hosted the International Dock Workers Conference here. We had dock workers from about 30 different countries. And we had the leadership of the West Coast here. And the absent party was my own International. And so, and sitting with, and we would all have our separate meeting in zones, the Latin American zone, the European zone, the African zone, and all these folks. And so we had the East Coast zone. There weren't too many people from the Asian Pacific. So the West Coast guys started with us. And a lot of times, we would tell them about our struggle in the ILA, and they would say, well, that's y'all politics, y'all have to deal with it. But then I told them, I said, listen, well, we've been dealing with it. We're pretty good at it now. But it's now become their problem. It's their problem because if we're gonna have this solid link of support globally, and you have this gaping hole along the East Coast of the United States, the largest trading bloc in the world, you have a problem. So you need to be about helping us to reform. It's in your best interest that we get this organization reform, that we show up, and we be able to give the same expressions of solidarity to our brothers and sisters, wherever they may be, that they're having a problem. Because dock workers, one thing that the corporations and the government with whom they're in collusion with in some of these other countries know the strength of the dock workers. We have to learn that because before you can use a weapon, you first have to realize you have it. And it seemed like in the ILA that's not the case. And so if we are going to be able to respond effectively, and a lot of times it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to actually engage in the conflict. But because I believe if you were to interview many police officers all over the city, the state, the country, and you ask them, how many of you have had to actually fire your weapon in the course of your career? It would probably not be the majority. But the majority have pulled their weapon and said, if you don't stop, and most people will stop. And so we have to be able to respond collectively and say, if this, if you don't cease in the way you are approaching the workers, then this is going to be the response. Because such was the case with Charleston Fire. We had dock workers that had weighed in from several different countries and to our government, to the Commerce Department in South Carolina, and said that if the day these 5 individuals go to court was the day the world shuts down. So, and you know, guess what?